last time we have discussed about it is the how interpersonal relationship they are initiating and then how they are terminating. Now, in this context a very interesting model is there which talks about that there are the different patterns are there, and we will see that is how these patterns they start and they end. If you see here in this particular picture, then you will find that is first the relationship has gone to the peak and then it has been declined. Then again it has gone to the peak, but not up to that extent, a very small extent, again it has been declined, and then again you will find that is the relationship has gone to the peak and then it has been declined. Similarly, in the another pattern 1 you will find that is the how the relationship has been developed. Now, here relationship has been developed, it has gone to the peak and then it has been declined. So, this is the another style of the interpersonal relationship people they develop. Third is that is the pattern 2. In pattern 2 you will find that is the how interpersonal relationship it has gone to the up and then it has little bit declined, then again it has raised to the new heights, again it has been little bit declined, and finally it has reached to the peak and then it has been declined. And therefore, in that case you will find in these 3 patterns there are the different approaches are there for the interpersonal relationship, and they have developed the interpersonal relationship on basis of these patterns. Pattern number 3. Pattern number 3 will talk about that is the relationship in the beginning has reached to the peak and then it has been declined, but again it has been improved little bit, but again it has been declined, then again somewhat it has been extended and then it has been declined. So, this is the another pattern 3 is there, and the last pattern that is a pattern 4. Here you will find that is the relationship is developed, then it is declined, then again it has been developed, then again it has been declined, and then it has been finally reached to a particular extent and then again it has been declined. Now, the people develop the relationship like this. Interpersonal relationship, either they will go to the extent, very high extent, and then they will decline, like in the pattern 1 is there. Question arises, which pattern is the best pattern to maintain the relationship? If you remember, in the last my lecture I have mentioned that is there are 3 phases. One is relationship initiating, relationship maintenance, and relationship declining. Now, which relationship will stay longer? The relationship which are able to develop a long maintenance. Similar model is there in the team building also. In team building, what happens when 2 persons or more than 2 persons they work together, they are having the forming, they come together, then they are having the storming. Storming means there are the conflicts and difference of opinions is there, but then they develop the norms. So, there is a norming is there. As the norms are developed, that is okay, you agree for this particular compromise, I also agree for this particular compromise, and therefore, norms are developed and they work together, and then they start performing. Once the norms are developed, better understanding, they perform, and finally adjourn, that is they are going to be separate apart. Similarly, in here if we see the analogy with here, then you will find that is a relationship which has been developed, which is too fast developed, it is too fast declining also. So, therefore, in that case you have to find out that is the how relationship that has to be developed. Now, here please focus on the pattern number 2. Relationship is developed, then naturally there will be the storming. So, there will be certain difference of opinions. So, it will go down, then again it will go up, and then again there will be some norms will be developed, and then it will be start performing, and therefore, you will find here that pattern number 3 is there. This is the dialectical perspectives and tensions are there. What happens in the dialectical perspectives? Communication seeks important, but inherently incompatible goals through their relationship is there. So, therefore, in that case that is what whoever the communicators are there, they seek the important, that is the yes, how they communicate, that becomes very important, and therefore, in dialectical perspectives it becomes very important, that is the whether, but inherently there might be the incompatible goals through their relationships are there, because they do not know whether the another person is having the same type of the relationship and compatibility or not. In dialectical tensions, conflicts that arise when two opposing or incompatible forces exist simultaneously. In conflict management also, we have seen that there are different strategies, and strategies are avoiding, accommodating, competing, collaborating and compromising. So, there are the 5 strategies are there. If the one party is ready to work with the another party, then definitely there will be, and another party also equally ready, then there will be collaboration. So, both seek the support of each other. So, they will work together and then there will be the collaboration is there. But in the case when there is no collaboration, then there might be a conditional relationship. In conditional relationship, both are working together and therefore, in that case by compromise, and they are together, but there is somewhat the compromise is there. So, these type of the conflict strategies that has to be adopted when there is a conflict management is there. Similarly, in dialectical tensions, conflicts that arise when two opposing or incompatible forces exist simultaneously, and therefore, if there it is a third strategy of conflict management, that is a competing strategy is there, where both the forces they are not ready to collaborate, they are not ready to compromise, even they are not ready to avoid, even they are not ready to accommodate, and the last strategy which will be remain with them, and that will be the competing strategy. And if there is a competition, then definitely in that case there will be a problem in the two opposing forces. Managing dialectical tensions can create the most powerful dynamic in relational communication. Now, here the two forces are the opposite forces and still you want to maintain the relationship, right. Then in that case it will be the most powerful dynamic in the relation communication is there. If they are not able to communicate properly, they are not able to manage each other, then definitely there will be the separation or declining in the relationship in case of the interpersonal dynamics. Third very important aspect is that is the connection versus autonomy is there. We seek out involvement with others. Now, so human being is a social person, and therefore, in that case it is they require to have the work with each other, and they seek that is the involve the other persons also. It is not like that any person will like to work alone. He may like to work alone, but definitely he will like to work for somebody. He will looking forward for the people surrounding to him. So, therefore, in that case the involvement of others is becoming very important. A simple example we can take like a family. A person is working alone, working to but why he wants the involvement of the family and seek the contribution from them in his work support. We are unwilling to sacrifice our entire identity to even the most satisfying relationship. It is a very important point. We should not forget that every individual is having his own dignity, and therefore, we have to protect his dignity, his or her dignity. So, one's dignity can be protected only when we are sacrificing our identity for the another person. If we will restrict to our identity only and we will not give importance to the another person's identity, then there will be the tension and there will be definitely a problem in the interpersonal relationship is there. One of the most common reasons for the relations breakup involve failure of partners to satisfy each other's need for connection. Now, you see there are the different ways of the connection to each other is there. Some persons they require the emotional connection, they are not giving the importance to the materialistic values. So, what is the need that we have to understand? If the need is emotional, need is social. So, what the partner is looking for? A partner is looking for the emotional involvement, social environment. But if the another person he is not able to understand the social need and he is trying to fulfill this need by understanding the materialistic values only, then in that case it will be very difficult to satisfy the need of the another person. In the two persons relationship, if the need is not properly identified, whether it is a social need or whether it is the economic need, and in that case If social need is there, then definitely it has to be satisfied with the social supply of emotions. But in the case when there is no social supply of emotions, then it will be very difficult for the person to get the relationship continue for a long period of time. So, in social needs what will happen, that is the how we will understand, that is the what is the social need. Like example is beautiful example is given here, we barely spend any time together. So, here is not need, that is how much you are earning for the family. The family wants time, family wants, that is the yes, let us feel that there is a karta of the family, there is a head of the family, and that head of the family is with them and they want to share maybe a small joy. Like a kid may like to share a small joy, that is how in the school his friend has done anything and he wants to laugh on that, and therefore he is looking for the head of the family to share with him, he is waiting. But if the head of the family is very busy in the for the his job and is not able to spare his time, what will be the perception of the child? The child's perception is that his father does not care for me. So, therefore, we have to understand at what stage and what age the other partner is. If the other partner is a kid, his needs will be very small. It is not that he wants a very big thing, he wants a time from you. So, therefore, in that case we have to understand how to maintain that relationship. Many times it is the criticizing, like I was feeling trapped, right. So, if when beautiful movies have come and then we see that in the dialogues, that is the husband says the wife, that is the, you do not know this thing, you will not be able to understand. And when the husband says to wife, that is you will not be able to understand, what does it mean? It means the wife will feel that she has been trapped, that is the, oh, she is inferior. Or when the wife says to the husband, that is you will not able to understand, the what will the husband will say, that is husband's ego will hurt, and then he will feel that is, oh, it is not, I am not compatible, is it that feeling by my spouse. So, therefore, in that case the way we communicate, in the communication we are developing the relationship. Communication really plays a role of a lubricant, which is making both the person's relationship strong, and therefore, a proper communication, timely communication, a soft communication, that will help in developing the interpersonal relationship. The next dimension is openness versus privacy. So, along with the need to disclose, so many people will have the ability to disclose the need, but many times it is not, please understand. Every time it is not explicit need, sometimes it is implied need. So, please dear friends, to maintain a proper relationship, it is becoming very important, that is you understand the implied need. We have an equally important drive to maintain space, and therefore, that is the dignity of another person that has to be maintained, and therefore, the respect and love in the family members, whether at the workplace or it is a professional family, and in both the places it becomes very important, that is the people respect to each other. Even the strongest relationships require some distance. So, therefore, please understand, many times people feel, oh, these are family members, so there is nothing like an artificial. I do not like any artificiality in this particular relationship. I do not want to make any particular hide in this relationship, because we are family, but so therefore, I can criticize you. But please be careful, it is there should be a communication of the scope of need of improvement, that is the whatever weaknesses are there, how to overcome those weaknesses. But we have to understand the difference between the criticism and feedback. So, in the family, even for the family members, we should not criticize, we have to give feedback and let them improve on that, and that is there is no criticism and there is a positive aspect in this particular relationship. Then predictability versus the novelty is there. Too much predictability can lead to feeling of stillness. Now, you see, by assuming, that is I know 100% about you, and therefore, I can predict how will you react on this particular occasion, how will you react on this particular situation, and therefore, in that case it becomes very important, that is the many times it can be shortcut in judging others. Your perception may not be the right, and if the perception is not right, then the prediction may be also not right, and if there is a wrong prediction, that will spoil the interpersonal relationship. So, dear friends, it becomes very very important, that is that we should avoid the too much predictability. If too much predictability is there, then definitely there will be the problem in the interpersonal relationships. The challenge is to judge the desire for predictability. Now, what is a rational predictability, and how you can understand that this is a rational predictability? That is the with the desire for novelty, and that keeps a relationship fresh, and therefore, in that case it becomes very very important, that is a time to time when you communicate, when you satisfy the need, and when you make the the feelings of the happiness, feelings of the ownership, feeling of the caring of each other, then definitely in that case there will be the always possibility, that is the interpersonal relationship, that whatever you are predicting, and that prediction will be the more or less accurate, and then it will have the novelty about the your another partner. Now, how these dialectical tensions are the responded? The first is the denial. What the person does? Reporting to one end of the dialectical spectrum and ignoring the other, and therefore, in that case whatever the perception is there, the person will continue with that, and even if there is another side of the flip, that he will not take care, and therefore, it is possible that is the denial will be there. No, no, I am sure you will not do like this, and this type of statement shows that is a denial. Denial is there from the one partner to the another partner. Disorientation. Communicators feel so overwhelmed and helpless, they are unable to confront their problems. Now, it is the sometimes the person shows so much happiness by giving one news, that is, oh, now the another person, if he is not comfortable with that news, but he will feel problem to express his denial. So, therefore, he will not be able to confront, because the to make the partner happy, to make the partner the not to disturb him, and to make him realize that is okay, your decision is my decision, and therefore, he will avoid the confrontation. But the avoiding the confrontation is good, but for sometimes, not always. When always this will be the situation, that there is a situation of confrontation, and the one partner avoids for the maintaining the relationship with the another partner, but it will not go long, and the time will come and there will be the breakup in the relationships. Alternations. So, in the alternating between the extremes on the spectrum, and therefore, please always see, it is not always between the yes and no, it is always sometimes also. So, please understand, there cannot be the black and white in relationship. In relationship, the many feelings are there which are not told, many feelings are there which are to be understood, and if this is a situation, then in that case there is a alternating between the whatever the extremes of the spectrum is there. Please try to find out alternate for that. If the one person says yes and another person says no, then in that case it will be very difficult, that is to come to a conclusion of maintaining the relationship and continue the relationship, and therefore, what is that? We have to find out the alternatives. Dear friends, there is no problem which is not having the alternative solutions. Only thing is that acceptance is required, and even if there is no acceptance is there, efforts are to be made in a novelty ways, so that the another person, that is the accept your solution. So, this is called the pull technique, it should not be the push technique. The next dimension is segmentation. Partners use this tactic to compartmentalize different areas of their relationship. Now, you see, that is they say okay, for a very simple example, in Indian family is there is a housework, and the domestic work will be taken care by the lady, and then the commercial aspects and the business aspects of the house family, that will be taken care by the husband. So, many times this type of the traditional thinking is there, and therefore, this will be the segmentation, that is okay, you can take the decision about A, B, C, D, I will take the decisions about the E, F, G, H, and as a result of which you will find that there will be the different segmentations, and people will work on the segmentations are there. Then there will be the balance. Balance will be the communicators try to balance dialectical tensions. Whenever there is a dialectical tensions, the best way is that is the communicate. However, it has been observed that is the people stop communicating, right. So, their first reaction is that whenever there is a dialectical tensions are there, then the first step is that is the stop communication, but what is suggested is that is to balance the relationship, always keep communication, never stop the communication. Integration, simultaneously accept opposing forces without trying to diminish them. So, it is a very good point, that is the without diminishing the relationship you can make your partner, that is to accept your proposal, then definitely nothing can be the best other than this. And therefore, what is important is that is the person, they should try always the integration, and there should not be the segmentation, they have to make a balance and then they integrate accordingly. Next strategy is recalibration. Recalibration means responding to dialectical challenges by reframing them, so that apparent contradictions disappear. Okay. So, it is a beautiful articulation. It is not manipulation. First we have to understand that you are not manipulating the things, but you are presenting the thing in a different way, and earlier side it was not acceptable, but when you are articulating and then the convincing or communicating in a different way, which is becoming the more attractive to the another partner, and he accepts, and therefore, you avoid the breaking of relationship. So, responding to the dialectical challenges by reframing them, that art should be, one should know, that is he will be able to reframe that particular art. Reaffirmation, this strategy acknowledges that dialectical tensions will never disappear. So, therefore, in that case it is very difficult, that is the many times it is a perception basically, that is no, the another person will not agree, maybe the boss, maybe the spouse, maybe the friend, maybe the family member, and they may find that is the they will not accept, and there will be the strategy will be that is the reaffirmation that what may come, the another person will not accept my solution. So, there is no point in making the providing the solutions. So, how to make the repairing the damaged relationships? Repairing the damaged relationships, that is the minor versus significance are there in the differences in the relationship, recognize problems for what they are, try to understand why these type of problems are there. Many times it might be the symptom only, and it may not be the real root cause of the problem. So, please be careful and try to find out that is the what is the cause of the problem. Suppose there is a denial. So, why there is a denial? Denial is a problem, but denial is because of certain reasons, certain background, and that what is that the knowledge based background or perception is there, that we have to understand, and therefore, recognize the problems for what they are, not only recognize the only problems, but recognize the problems that what they are. Social versus relational is there. Some transgression violate social, not relational norms. For example, relationship with parents. If the spouse is too much close to the parents, then definitely the partner will feel that is he has been avoided. If this type of the feeling is there, then there will be some transgressions violate will be there, and then but what is required and what is the solution? Solution is you have to follow the relational norms. There are certain norms which are supposed to be followed. If norms are not followed, then in that case it will be becoming very difficult for the person to maintain the relationship. Now, many times it happens without intentions, and therefore, deliberate versus the unintentional is there. So, transgressions are not always intentional. So, many times what happens in the haste, without noticing, the person may communicate, may behave, may respond, may react, which is not intentional to hurt somebody, but because of his reaction the person is getting hurt. So, therefore, in that case it becomes very important, that is there has to be the transgressions are to be there, and there should be it should be the deliberations, there should be discussions, and there should not be the any intentional hurt to the another partner. One time versus incremental. Now, what happens, that is what is the continuous behavior for superior subordinate relationship. If we talk about superior, once has insulted the subordinate, okay, subordinate will say okay fine, he is the boss, he has the right. But when it becomes repeatedly Similarly, in the family, when the child feels that he has been insulted repeatedly, and then that will be incremental type of behavior, and if that type of behavior is there, then it will be difficult to maintain the relationships. Next is the accidents do happen. So, therefore, sometimes what happens, unintentionally you do something which hurts another person, and but there was no intention, it is accidentally happened, and therefore, if that is the reason, then we have to communicate and convince to the another person, that is there was no intention for this, but this is done, and done cannot be undone, and therefore, in that case it becomes very very important, that is you are going for that particular maintaining the relationship is there. The very important point here is, and it is about the apology. What is the apology? A apology requires three elements: an acknowledgement that the transgression was wrong, I acted like a jerk, and therefore, even we have done some, we have said something which is absurd and not acceptable, and then but we accept that is, oh sorry, it was done, and therefore, it should not have been done. Or a sincere apology, I am really sorry, I feel awful for letting you down. So, then you by heart you realize, you communicate, your eyes, tone, pitch, contact, everything communicates, that is there the person is feeling sorry about it, and it has been done, and therefore, it is the there was no intention, that is to let down the another person rather than to maintain the relationship. Some type of compensation is there, if I act that way again, you can call me on it, and therefore, in that case, if the somebody may not be having that particular type of acceptance of the apology, but there may be the certain sort of the communication, that was a way again, you can call me on it, and therefore, yes this time I could not, but next time definitely I will do. So, it means that the communication plays a very very important role in interpersonal relationships is there. There is a meta communication, messages that people exchange verbally or non-verbally about their relationships, and therefore, many times like the caring behavior is there, and in caring behavior the person will talk about, that is the how it has been the caring is to be done, and it is because of the relationship between the person and that particular aspect between the x and y, that is the yes I care for you, and therefore, in that case like for example, a very good advertisement was there, where the wife comes from the office and she feels tired, and then in that case what she does, that is the what husband does, that is he just slides the table to keep so she can relax by keeping her legs on the table. It was a beautiful non-verbal communication, and in the non-verbal communication, or the person has come from the outside, and yeah, you just bring a glass of water for the person, and definitely in that case it becomes very very interesting, that is the yes the person is able to do is taking care of me. So, many times it is not the verbal, many times it is the touch, right. So, therefore, if the child has not done good in his class, and the father when holds the hand, a mother holds the hand, and the child gets the message, okay, do not worry, next time try better next time. So, therefore, in that case this becomes a very very important, that is the your non-verbal communication. Non-verbal communication also can be realized very high sensitivity, and person will not forget, that is that day, even if after so many years person will recall that particular touch, the person will recall that particular service provided by the another person. Communication about communication, then whatever you are communicating, you are clarifying that also, that is the yes I did not mean that, I mean that is the you should take care, and in the future there should not be this type of problem should not arise again. It means that you want to say the communication about, that is what you have communicated, what you are intended to say, and therefore, if your intentions are proper, then definitely in that case that communication will be the smooth communication will be there. Can be used as a way to reinforce the satisfying aspects of a relationship. Yes, why not? Really we can use a way to reinforce the satisfying aspect of relationship by communication only. Many times a person is under stress or under tension, and just a call to that particular person and saying, I realize, I understand your situation, but do not worry, there will be always solution to the problems. No problem is everlasting, problems will keep on coming, but the solutions will be more than whatever the problems are there in this world of intelligence. So, therefore, in that case it is better that is the reinforce the satisfying need or aspects of a relationship is there. Finally, we can say I really appreciate it when you compliment me about my work in front of the boss. So, therefore, whenever you appreciate your subordinate in presence of the boss, then his boss or the your boss, and therefore, you are giving the credit to the work, you are giving the recognition, you are appreciating, and then in that case definitely it becomes very important, that is the how the person is able to get that appreciation. And whenever there is a such type of appreciation, it will be always better, that is the relationship will be better for the better relationship. So, therefore, in that case what is important is this, that is we have started with the how the relationship is developed. So, please do not make a very fast beginning in making the relationship. Relationship has to be with the period of time and smooth, and then with the proper communication, and then there can be the relationship reinforcement is there. Or out of those 5 pictures, definitely in all the pictures there is a decline. So, once whatever relationship is started, one day it has to be end, and therefore, in that case it becomes very important how do you start and how do you end your relationship. Better you start slowly progressing, and then naturally one day it is going to be apart. So, in this way we find out that is the how the meta communication that plays an important role in interpersonal relationship and developing the relationships. Thank you.